We have 1.5. Friday, we'll finish Friday.
So we're on Daf Chav Gimel towards the bottom, about five lines from the bottom. But just to recap what happened, the Mishnah spoke about Evet Kanani and how he gets released. What frees Evet Kanani? And it said two things: Kesef and Shtar. Kesef would mean that the master's paid money, and Shtar means that the master gives a Shtar favors. And those are the two ways that it gets released. But the Mishnah had a machlokas, internal machlokas. Means everyone agrees those are the two ways: Kesef and Shtar. But the question is about Asmo and Achirin, and I think the way, just to sum it up, I think I have a short summary. Everything in the Mishnah is side. The whole issue is going to be a side issue. It's technicalities. It means that everyone agrees that there's Kesef and the Shtar are two ways that the Eved can become free. But there are a couple of technicalities. One is if it's possible for Eved to have money. Could he possibly have money? Nothing to do with the actual release. Could the Eved have money?
Because whatever he owns,
So that's a technicality that it could be has no money. If so, it could be that only somebody else is going to be able to redeem him for money because somebody else could have money. And this somebody else will come to the master and give him money in order to release the Eved. So that would be the way that it works. If the Eved could possibly have money, so then he has money also. It's possible
for him to have money. Once a few months ago about it, he can borrow. Somebody can give him money as an investment.
I don't remember what you're referring to. I don't know. We can talk about it a little bit. We're going to speak about it today. If it's possible for an Eved to have money on his own. So far, that's saying the points. The points of the Mishnah, that's three technicalities that the Mishnah is going to concerned with. One is that the Eved might not be able to have any money. Technically, can't have any money. So then when it says that he's Kona Asma De Kesef, it's going to have to be somebody else who's going to do it because he doesn't have any money. There's another technicality. Is it considered a schus or a chov that an Eved should be free? But an Eved rather be an Eved or rather be free? So the Meir says that he'd rather be an Eved because he loses by being free. First of all, he loses because if the master was a Kohen, he's not a eat truma. Now he's not allowed to eat truma anymore. Then also even the Eved of Yisrael, he loses because he likes the lifestyle more of an Eved than the lifestyle of a free man. He likes to have a shifcha that he can do whatever he wants, not a noble woman that he has to be married to, that he has some limitations on how he could
be Jewish.
How he could behave.
He'd rather be an Eved Kanani with a shifcha than
Jewish.
Because that's an issue. So if it's considered a chov, then you can't do him a favor and redeem him against his will without his consent because he doesn't want to be free. So you can't be a zachan adam shlabafana. That's not what
you stuck with him basically. Because he's not free.
I didn't say that. I said that the issue was if somebody else could do him a favor to free him. The master wants to free him, the master could free him. But if somebody else is going to be zocha, let's say in the shtar, that the master has to give the shtar to somebody, he gives it to them, he gave it to them, that's his business, he does what he wants. You don't want to be free? I wanted to be free. That's not a question of zachan adam shlabafana. But if somebody else is going to take the shtar, and say I'm being zocha for the Eved, then you're getting involved. If the Eved doesn't consent, so that's a question if it's considered a schos or a chov. If it's a chov, so then you can't do it against his will. That's the second technicality. And the third technicality is that when you give a shtar to the Eved, he has to make a kinyan, but he can't make a kinyan because he has right. So that's going to be called a third puncher over here. That is it possible for the Eved to have a yad to be able to become the shtar. So what I just did is mention three technicalities that the Mishnah deals with about the release of an Eved Kanani, Kesef, Shtar. Those are the two ways that an Eved can be free. One technicality is it possible for the Eved to have money on his own? One technicality is if someone else is going to do it, is it considered a chov? Maybe it's considered detrimental to the Eved to become free, and you can't do it against his will.
That's the kasha of shtar.
Not conscious. That's technicalities that has to be considered. That if there's going to be a shtar that someone's going to be zocha for the Eved, maybe he can't do it without the Eved's consent.
Okay.
And there's also another third technicality that if the Eved's going to accept the shtar, so maybe he doesn't have a yad, he doesn't have the ability to because he doesn't have a yad. The remedy for each one of these things would be that maybe it is possible for an Eved to have money on his own, even though usually whatever the Eved owns, the Rav owns, but maybe there's a way to get money to him. And as far as is considered a schos or chov, some say that is considered a schos for an Eved. He doesn't have this mentality. He also wants to be free, rather be free than to be an Eved. And the third issue about not having a yad to accept the shtar that's going to be an issue about the Gita V'Yod of Lam Kechad. It could be that there's a Vandama that holds that it comes simultaneously. When you give him the get shechur, so simultaneously he gets free and he gets the yad. It's true that he can't get the freedom before the yad and he can't get the yad before the freedom, but they can come together. When he gives him the get shechur, so by accepting the get shechur, automatically he becomes free and simultaneously he gets a yad. So that would be a way how he'd be able to accept the shtar, even though Ever doesn't have a yad.
He gets it in the moment of shikhr.
Right, it happens. Both of them happen simultaneously. One can't happen before the
Tried
other.
to do that, and other times it didn't work. A few days ago, that there's no place where you can actually technically do it because
I don't know what you're referring to. You have to be able to point out a place which you're referring to where we said opposite. I don't know. I don't remember that we had the opposite. But
change
here,
of status. At the point it changes status, but then he's no longer slave to be.
I don't know what you're referring to. I'm not sure. What you're
No,
referring
right now, let's just talk about this.
This is the question about having a yad to be able to accept the shekor. That some will say that's a problem because he doesn't have a yad.
Right.
In order to get become shekor, he has to have yad. He doesn't have a yad. And the others will say that that simultaneously by giving him the get shekor, he automatically gets the yad simultaneously. That's how he becomes free. His freedom and his hand come simultaneously. So I just had a preview to what the thing is going to talk about. To sum it up, the Mishnah spoke about two shittas. Instead of Meir says, "Kesef al yidei acherim, b'shtar al yidei asmo divrei Meir." If you take it, that if you take each one to be, it means kesef al yidei acherim means the only way that it's going to become free is if someone else with money is only somebody else is going to give the money because he doesn't have any money. He can't have any money. But Meir holds he can't have any money. Right, so it's not. So I have to go back to the page before. This is on the Mishnah on number page. Yeah, we should do it. It's nice to do it.
The star, are you there? Small.
So if you take the Mishnah that it means each one is only the way it says it, that only if other people can give money to the master, is that the way that the Eved can become free? Because the Eved has no way of having money. So it has to be Dafkal De'achirim. The shtar has to be Dafkal De'atzmo. It can't be Al De'achirim because the Meir holds that it's considered detrimental for Eved to become free. So if someone's going to do it without his das, it means if we say that Al De'atzmo means he has to know about it. Either he takes it himself or someone else could take it for him also. If he says, I'm asking, I want that I should be free. I want to be free, man. But if he doesn't consent, so then no one else can do it for him. That's how a Meir might hold. He holds that it's a chov, therefore shtar dafkal de'atzmo, and kesef dafkal de'achirim because he doesn't have any money on his own. The Chachamim say v'kesef al de'atzmo, v'shtar de'achirim. If you take it literally, that it means the way it's each one is by itself. Kesef al de'atzmo means that someone else can't give money for him, maybe because he doesn't want to be free. He can't do it against his will, so it has to be his own money. But he also could have money. This time will hold that it is possible for him to have his own money. Shtar al de'achirim. And not al de'atzmo might be because he doesn't have a yad. He doesn't have a hand to be able to accept the shtar. Someone else has to accept it for him.
I'm sorry, with the Rebbe Meir, did we say al yidei achirim meant only?
If you want to say, if you
Or
want to
we're
learn,
not sure.
if you want to read the Mishnah that each one is saying dafka the way it says it, and you can't do it the other way, you don't want to put in the word
The
out.
Rebbe Meir is saying that he can't own his own money.
Right, and that's what the Gemara says. The Meir holds he cannot own his own money, and therefore it's dafkal de'achirim. B'shtar, if you read the Mishnah that it means dafkal de'atzmo, that'll mean that someone else can't accept it for him
Because it might be a chov.
Unless he says I want it, then someone else could do it. And the Chachamim, if you want to read the Mishnah the way it says it, kesef dafkal de'atzmo, because someone else cannot do it for him, maybe because it's a chov, maybe it's considered detrimental. But
With kesef too.
But we're not going to say that because we happen to know that that is considered a schus.
How did Rebbe Meir, if he can't own his own money, then what did
So someone else has to give money for him. Someone else could
they
go to
give
the master
their
and
money?
say,
They don't give him the money.
Right,
They give
right,
their
they give their own money.
okay.
And Chachamim, if you want to read the Mishnah the way it says it, then it's going to mean that
He has
it's
to give
detrimental
his own
because the kesef al de'atzmo, he does have
Because it
money.
might
First
be
thing, he
chov.
does have money,
Mhm.
and someone else cannot do it because maybe it's a chov unless he consents. You could learn the Mishnah that it means afal de'atzmo, even himself, because he could have money.
But then how can the rabbi say the shtar al yidei achirim?
Then shtar de'achirim, what does that mean? That he cannot accept. You want to say that it means he cannot accept his own shtar because he doesn't have a yad. That might be the pshat. If he doesn't have a yad, he can't accept the shtar. Someone else has to accept it for him.
Right.
He has kesef, but he doesn't have a
He
yard.
could have kesef. He could have
Okay.
kesef. He doesn't have a yard. Is that not possible?
How did he
could
have
own
kids?
money.
But what does it mean not to have a yard?
That if he's going to make a
Literally.
gain on something, it automatically belongs to the master. But it still would be possible for him to get money somehow. Which we'll see the Gemara.
It's not a
Is it
technical
possible for him
question.
to have?
He might
possible.
have money,
That's
even
fine.
though
Even though he doesn't-
anything
even though
that
for now, when
comes
everything's-
to him belongs to the master.
Right.
What is
If-
that?
We
if-
don't know how that
Which
works.
is right. So there is going to be a possibility. The star of the Achirim, the master wants to give him a star. If the master is going to give him a star and he doesn't have a yard, because everything that he's accepting now belongs to the master. So the master is not going to say, I'm giving you a star. What? I'm giving you a star. That's what the Gemara talks about, that maybe he can't get the star by himself because maybe he doesn't have a yard.
What do you
Okay,
give
but
a
what's the
star?
uvil vad?
What?
And what's the uvil vad?
Well, that goes back to before. But Vad goes back, surely Vad goes back to this part of the case of Aldayatzmo, that he could get his own money, but the money has to be that somebody else gave it to him. But it's not going on the word star, it's going on this. If we would highlight it, we put this together with this, because of Aldayatzmo.
He
Again,
didn't
the
earn
vad.
it because he didn't.
How does he have money? He has to
Yeah, how
have
does
money. He has to have money from other people. That's how we'll read the
Well,
Mishnah.
if it's from other people, why didn't it go to the Baal?
They give it to the Baal and they say that we want to
Free him.
free him. Or you want, maybe it means that he got the money, this somebody else gave him the money. And now he says, now go ahead and redeem yourself. All this the Gemara is going to talk about. The Gemara is going to talk about
It didn't go to the Baal. So
it. If you want to say Kesef al De'asma, you want to say that he got that Evid got the money, he's the one who's redeeming himself. Where do we get money from? Shei Kesef Mishal Achirim. The way that he's going to redeem himself with money is by having gotten money from somebody else. That's the how you have to read the Mishnah. It's not going on the word Shal De'achim.
I understand that, but I don't understand if he can't. He can have his own money somehow.
It says here, if other people gave it to him, then he could have money. And you have to know how they gave it to him.
Okay.
So the Gemara is going to discuss all that. But I just brought in the three factors that are
These are
that the
the social
Mishnah. No, they didn't say that yet. That's going to be that's the three factors that the Gemara is talking about.
Here didn't talk about Hazaka.
No, we're talking about getting out, not going in, not talking about.
Kona.
No, we're going in the end of the Mishnah. Kona Satsma. We're talking about how he gets released. Kona Satsma for Kesef and Bishtar. And that Kesef and Bishtar is a machlokes al de'achim, al de'yatzmo, al de'achim. That's all the end of we're in the end of the Mishnah, we're not the beginning.
Well, I see.
Kona Satsma for Kesef and Bishtar.
Okay.
Okay, so that was just the introduction.
Technical question. Why is there not mentioned the Russia and Mary?
Good. That's tomorrow's Gemara.
There's
There's another way that everybody can only go
He
free.
can get
Is
free.
if- Yeah, so I saw the Gemara's going to ask that tomorrow.
Another way to do something.
Uh,
That's what I just said. Let's leave it tomorrow.
Okay, so we're up to the bottom of the page, and the Gemara said the Gemara said the pshatim. The mayor Taka says that he doesn't have money, and Shtara the Yatzmu, the mayor holds that it's a chol, so he has to agree to it. That's why he could. Someone else cannot accept the star for him because it's detrimental. And the Yatzmo he can, and the mayor holds that it's no problem about his yard because he holds Gita B'Yod B'Am Kechem. I'm trying to go over the Mishnah. I'm trying to go into the Mishnah again the way the Gemara finished up. I think I got it right. That the mayor holds Kesef Al De'achirim Dafka because he doesn't have any way of having any money. V'shtar Al De'yatzmo, he has to consent. If he doesn't consent, then the Achirim cannot do it. And Al De'yatzmo he could do it because even though he doesn't have a yard, Gita B'Yod B'Am Kechem. That's
So
fine.
we're saying in terms of Kona and Satsmo,
Right.
there's going to be a machlokas, a three-way machlokas. or
So
three
so far,
machlokas.
right. The Gemara, I'm just going to say the Mishnah only has two. The Mishnah has two. I'm going to try to
Kesef and Shtar.
start.
And
And
we're going to find three things in Kesef and Shtar.
no, yeah, there's going to be three opinions of Achirim and Atzmo as far as Kesef and Shtar go. Everybody holds Kesef and Shtar. And there's a factors about Achirim and Atzmo, and that's going to be three opinions. So we have an Mishnah two opinions. I'm not going to learn Rashi. I'm going to learn Taisvos. It's much easier, and just take out a word in the Gemara, and it'll be easier. So the mayor holds Kesef al De'achirim Dafka because he doesn't have a way of having any money on his own. So someone else has to be called in, and he has to agree because if he doesn't agree, then somebody else can't do it because it's detrimental. V'shtar al de'atzmo. Did I take that? Oh, I'm sorry, I take it back. The Gemara yesterday said that Kesef, even though it's detrimental, he could do it. Abai and Rabbi both of them said it's for us yesterday. Abai said because Kesef is Kon al de'atzmo, so therefore it could be Kon asasmo or Kolpo. Rabbi said because the master is the one who is receiving the money, so he could do it by Kolpo. He's the mandama, he's the balabas, not the Eved. So that's how Kesef al de'achirim, even if he does not consent. Ishtal Yidei Atzmo meant that he could do it by himself because Gita v'yada bon kechad. Can others do it? If he agrees to it, only if he agrees to it. If he doesn't agree to it, so then they can't do it against his will. The Chachamim is the second Shita, and the Gemara would have liked to say that we know that they hold that it's a schos for an Eved to go free, and also he can have his own money, and also that everybody holds that Kita B'Yod Avrohom Kechad is considered a famous sheet of Kita B'Yod Avrohom Kechad, not only Rav Meir. So the Gemara would have liked to say that according to the Chachamim, everything is good. Kesef even al Yasmo, Shtar even al Achirim. That's what the Gemara would have liked to say. That according to Rabbanan, everything is good. The fact is, if Achim and Aspo is not a factor because he could have money and it's considered a schos to get and all the three factors are going to have no problem with. So we would have liked to learn the Mishnah that everything is good, but the more end off for the Kasha that it should have said it easier. It should have said it Bein Bekesef, Bein Bishtar, Bein Al Das, Bein Al Dechem. We should have put it all together. So what the Gemara now said we're up to now, and the Gemara found the Shita that says you don't say Kitab Yad B'Blan Kechem. The whole reason why we had this problem is because we know everybody holds Kitab Ma'asim B'Chol Yom. Rashi says you go in the street, you'll see Kitab Yad B'Blan Kechem. People give a shout to the Eved. So the Gemara is going to find, you're right, there's such a shita, but our Mishnah doesn't hold like that. Our Mishnah holds Shtar Dafka Be'achirim because it's Reb Shimon ben Elazar. Reb Shimon ben Elazar happens to hold that you don't say Gita v'yad Avrohom Kechad. They don't hold it as far that simultaneously he gets a yad and the liberation. So therefore it's impossible to give the shtar to him himself. So the way the Gemara is going to read the Mishnah is Chachamim Omrim B'Kesef even Al Yidei Atzmo because he could have money. Ishtar Dafka Yidei Achirim because he can't take it by himself because you don't say Gita v'yad Avrohom Kechad, and that's Reb Shimon ben Elazar. He doesn't have a hand because he doesn't have a hand, right?
That's the Chachamim.
That's the Chachamim. And the Gemara says this Chachamim, so this Chachamim is Reb Shimon ben Elazar. The Gemara found the Tana that holds like that. The Gemara was first bothered, nobody holds like that. And the Gemara we found somebody that holds like that. The Chachamim, Reb Shimon ben Elazar. But we're not going to pass like him because we hold like the Rabban, who's the third shita. That's going to be now Shalish Machlokas B'Dova. There's a third shita that says that the pshat that I said that everything is good, that's true, but it's not in our Mishnah. The Gemara doesn't find it in our Mishnah because our Mishnah should have been worded differently. If our Mishnah held everything is good, Kesef, Shtar, Atzmo, Achim, everything is good, then it would have worded it differently. The fact that it words it different this way, the Gemara understands that it's Reb Shimon ben Elazar that holds Shtar, Dafka Yidei Achirim. He can't get the Shtar by himself because he doesn't have a yad. And the famous shita that we know of, that Gita v'yad Avrohom Kechad, and everything is good, that's going to be a third shita, and it doesn't say it in our Mishnah. That's what we're up to on the bottom of the page. Chav Gimel Amud Aleph, and this way it goes.
When you said Gito, that's a pasuk?
No, that's a term, a formula. Gito v'yad Avrohom Kechad. Do we have that in the Gemara? We had that in the Gemara. Gito v'yad is his liberation. Here it is. Gito v'yad Avrohom Kechad. That his get shikhr that he got, the document and his hand come simultaneously. Both come simultaneously. Because the problem is he can't get the get because he doesn't have a yard. He doesn't have a yard because he doesn't have a get. So they come simultaneously. They come simultaneously, and now he can have both.
And where was that? Was that on the previous page?
That's on Chav Gimel Amud Aleph. It's by the little hair of the Rambam. And here it's about 15 lines from the bottom. The first one of the word is long.
Thank you. Okay.
The Gemara just to go back a little bit. When the Gemara said that everything should be good, the Hachi now Vinu this if everything is good according to the Chachamim, then the Mishnah should have mixed it all together. It should have said Bekesef u'Bishtar ben al deyasmo Achim ben al deyasmo. That was the Gemara's problem, that even though we would have liked to learn the Mishnah that everything is good, but we can't, because the Mishnah should have been worded differently. It should have said everything is good. It shouldn't have said Kesef, Ade Atzmo, Shtar, Ade Echem, and each one means even. It should have made it much simpler. It should have said everything is good. So therefore, the Gemara sees Ella. This is where the answer is. That is Rav Shimon ben Elazar. Ella b'Kesef ben Ade Echem ben Ade Atzmo. It is true that the Mishnah means even. Kesef is even good al Yidei Atzmo because he could have money. Surely it's good al Yidei Echem because they have money and it's a schus to get free. The Shtar is dafka al Yidei Echem. The Shtar al Yidei Echem but al Yidei Atzmo. Now that means why not? Why can't he get a star by himself? Because you don't think it of the other Bam Kechad. Who's that? Rav Shimon ben Elazar. Who we found a Tana that says that you don't say Gita the other Bam Kechad. The Tanya, Rav Shimon ben Elazar Omer. If it's okay to take out the word af, that's what Tosis helps us out. He takes out the word af, and then everything reads the way we said it. Take out the word af. Rav Shimon ben Elazar Omer, Ishtar al Yidei Acherim, below al Yidei Atzmo. Shtar is only other people. He can't get his own shtar because he doesn't have a yad. The reason that the af makes such a big difference is because you say af. That means that kesef also is going to be dafka one way, and we don't want to say that. We want to say that the Mishnah is going to be Rav Shimon ben Elazar. You can't. The Mishnah says kesef al yidei atzmo. You can't. I'm sorry. If you say af, that means both of them. Kesef and shtar, both of them as atzmo. That wouldn't fit into the Mishnah. So I wouldn't fit into the Mishnah. Take out the word out. So he agrees to what the Mishnah.
Is Rabbanim.
Right. The Chacham of the Mishnah is Rav Shimon ben Elazar. This is how Tosis learns, I think, and therefore the Chacham of the Mishnah is Rav Shimon ben Elazar, and the Shtar is al Yidei Echem v'lo al Yidei Atzmo because he doesn't have a shtar. That's the Chacham of the Mishnah, and he doesn't have a yad. But as far as kesef, either way is good. Ben al Yidei Atzmo, ben al Yidei Echem, because he could have money. And it's considered a schus. But that's what the Gemara means to say, that we know that there's somebody. The whole kasha was Kaimelan, like I said before. Kaimelan, everybody knows. Kita b'yad b'am ke'echad. Like Rashi says, Ma'asim b'chol yom. So that's the third shita, and that's how we're going to pass him, but not like our Mishnah. Not like our Meir. The third shita is that Kita b'yad b'am ke'echad. Like it said over here on the yellow. Kita b'yad b'am ke'echad. That was the Kaimelan. Rashi tells us that the Kaimelan is. Everybody knows so, not because it's a Mishnah someplace, but because this is in my way over here. Because
that's the third opinion. It's not in the Mishnah.
It's not in the Mishnah, right?
So
I'm not sure if Rashi doesn't seem to that. Rashi says, and that's not going to be only Rav Meir. That's to be the Rabbana. So the Gemara says that is Taka the Rabbana, and Rav Shimon ben Elazar is the one who doesn't hold of it, and everything's good. So Allah Lamaisa, everything is good. Because the Eved could own money. That's a question we pass like a mayor. Could the Eved have money? That's going to be coming up the next sugya. Could the Eved have his own money? And there's another issue about it's a schus or a chol. We pass like it's a schus for an Eved to get the Eved, even in his own mentality, he'd rather be free. And give the view the Bam Kechad that we hold that it is possible for the shechrur and the yad to come simultaneously.
That's for the money. The money will come to him when he's free, the moment he gets free.
No, the shtar. The money is not going to the Eved. The money is going to the master. You don't need Gito. You don't need Gito.
He's getting paid for freeing. He's getting redeemed. The slave is getting a redemption.
Right. So that someone gives money, either the Eved or someone gives money to the master. He doesn't have to have a yad to get freed by kesef. The master has the yad. He has to have a yad in order to get shikwa. Just to point out, that's what we started off with, that the kesef and the shtar are two ways that Eved gets released. Kesef by the master getting the kesef, shtar by the master giving the shtar. So that was the question, who is giving the money, who is getting the shtar? So as far as getting the shtar, David might not be the one to be able to get the shtar because he doesn't have a yad. So maybe somebody else has to accept it for him. Or he passed like Rabbanan that that he could simultaneously get his yad as he gets the document. He gets the document to his hand, that makes it free, and it also gives him a yad. Okay, that's good. I think it's good.
So the Gita we're talking about is get shichru.
Yes, okay. Yes. Amar Rabba, my time Rav Shimon ben Elazar. What does Rav Shimon ben Elazar get that you don't say Gita v'yad b'am kechad? That he has to be, it's only going to be from somebody else. Somebody else can accept to get shikmur, even though the Torah says that an Eved could become free with a get shikmur, but he can't be the one to accept it because he doesn't have technicality, he doesn't have a yad. Where does he get it from? From Isha. It says by Kasav Sefer Krisos. It says This Exer Shabbat between Eved, Kanani, and a woman that's being divorced. Just like a woman, when the husband wants to give a get to his wife, it has to go out of his own domain. It has to go out of his domain. So too, when a master is giving an Eved to get shechur, it has to get out of his domain. And if he gives it to his Eved, it didn't get out of his domain because he's an extension of his own hand. So he doesn't have his own hand. The Rabbanan are going to say, Rashi at the bottom says, Rabbanan are going to say that she could get her get by herself. So too, the Eved could get a get by himself. And the point's going to be that Gita V'yoda B'am Kechad. So Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar does not hold Gita V'yoda B'am Kechad. He doesn't hold of this simultaneous hand that he gets with the Shifra. They want to say that you do say that. Finished. And we pass like the Rabbanan, Gita V'yoda B'am Kechad, that the Eved could accept his own get Shifra. New Gemara. Boy Rabba. The rest of the Gemara is going to be not halacha because it's going in Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, who holds that he cannot receive his own get Shifra. Bottom two words, Boy Rabba. Now ask the question. Rav Shimon ben Elazar, who holds that an Eved cannot accept his own get shechur, Eved Kanani, Mao Sheyasa Shliach L'Kabel Gito Miyad Rabba. He can't accept his own get shechur. Somebody else has to accept it for him. But could he make a shliach? If he wants to make a shliach, that someone else should accept it for him. May he? Which would mean we said the whole time that according to Rav Shimon ben Elazar, he can't accept his own get shechur. Somebody else accepts it for him. But that's not a shliach. He didn't make a shliach. Someone else could be zocha for him. And it seems to be going that shliach is not mitam shlichus. But the Gemara wants to know, can he make a shliach? Could the Eved make a shliach for somebody to receive his get? He himself cannot receive his get. But somebody else could, if he'd be zocha. But if he wasn't zocha, he wants to become a shliach. The Eved maybe messes it up. If he makes a shliach, maybe it's worse. The Gemara is an Eved side that if the Eved makes a shliach, he tells somebody, please be a shliach to receive my get shechur. Maybe it's not good. If the person would on his own, he says to the master, I have a hand, I want to be zocha for the Eved. That's good. Rabbi just said that. But maybe he can't make somebody a shliach. Why not?
He never should.
Why not?
Because it belongs to his father. Who was he to make a shlichim?
Do we know that Eved can make a shliach? Does he have to have a shus for that? And also, by the way, the master also wants to give him the get shechur. The master is giving him the get shechur, so he has a problem with that.
Rabbi also said that he doesn't have a hand.
Right.
So then what's the question here?
Can he make a shliach? Eved Kanani.
He doesn't have a hand.
He doesn't have a hand to accept it by himself. Can he make a shliach? He does have a Jew to make a shliach to be able to accept his get shechur. I'm making you a shliach to be accept my get shechur.
Why would he not be able to?
Oh, why not? On one hand, you can say yes, because since it's a gzera shava between these two words of law from a regular woman who's divorced, so that's like a woman can make a shliach to accept her get. He can make a shliach to accept his get shechur. But Eved, a woman, maybe a woman that has the ability to get her own get, she could accept her own get. So she has the power to make a shliach. But an Eved that cannot accept his own get, maybe he can't make a shliach. So this is a new yesod that the Gemara is throwing in. Maybe you only can make a shliach for something that you have the authority to do. But to make a shliach for something you don't have the authority to do, maybe the shliach can't be better than you. So that's the Gemara's far to say that maybe not. If it would be that person is zocha for you, so then it's not mitam shlichus, it sounds. So then he could be zocha for you, for the Eved. But to make him a shliach, you can't make, maybe you can't make a shliach to do something that you yourself cannot do. That's what the Gemara is entertaining, this side. What would you have said? You make a shliach for something that you cannot do. The shliach is going to do something that you cannot do. So that's the Gemara's question. Is it possible to make a shliach for something you cannot do? That was Rabbi's question. Basa the boy had the question. After he asked the question, he himself answered it. And he said, La lam the isha, ki isha. To make the gzera shava from a woman, just like a woman can make a shliach, he also can make a shliach, which seems to say that even though he can't do it himself, he could make a shliach. And Moshe is taking the other side, that since you can't do it yourself, you're not authorized to make a shliach, something that you can't do. The Gemara is going to ask more or less the question. So far, the Gemara says you don't need it. You can make a shliach for something that you cannot do.
We have two sides, and we're saying it's like the first side.
That's right, that
like
you could.
Mishallah.
Right, that you could. You could make a shliach even though you cannot do it. And there was a problem because we see not like that. Rav Huna Bred Rabbi Yeshua says someplace else, Hani Kahani, these Kohanim, Shluchei D'Rachmanin, they're representatives of Hashem. Means you go to the base of Mikdash, you bring a carbon, you have a carbon, you ask the Kohen to bring it to do this Zrika, to do that. Right? Yeah. So who are they? The two Sadim are going to be maybe Hashem Shliach, and you bring it to him, and now he takes over. He's Hashem's representative. He's doing Hashem's work, mission, or he's a Shliach of ours to bring the carbon to Hashem. Where does the Kohen?
Oh, where is it?
What is he?
Who brought it to Hashem?
Did I bring it to Hashem Shliach, or did I send the Shliach to bring it to Hashem? What is the Kohen's mission? What is he doing? Is he a representative of Hashem's agent, or is he our agent? So Rav Huna ben Yeshua says that the Kohanim are Hashem's agent. How does he know that? Because if you think that he's our agent, could it be something that we cannot do and he could do? That means that's Moshe's Yisod. That if he's our shliach, it wouldn't make sense because we're not allowed to do this Zrika and halacha Kabbalah. We can't do all that. We're not a Kohen.
So how could he be our shliach?
How could he be our shliach? This is based on the Yisod that you can't make a shliach of something you're not authorized. So it can't be better than you. It can't be better than you. So if he be our shliach, it wouldn't be able to be a shliach because we cannot do it, so he cannot do it. It must be that it's Hashem shliach. So we bring the carbon to him. We did our jars. We brought it to Hashem shliach, and now he takes over. That was a Fenabed Yeshua. But if Rab is right, that by Eved you see that an Eved could make a shliach, even though he can't accept to get himself. So you see that it's not true. Below, is it not true that you can't make a shliach of something that you cannot do yourself? That he cannot accept his own get. We hold he could, but if Shimon Elazar holds he can, that the Eved cannot accept his own get because he doesn't have a yad, and he could make a shliach. So that is a kasha.
The concept that he can run his own mifal within being a slave. I mean, it sounds hard.
What's bothering you?
He's always a slave. What's he doing business behind the scenes?
He's making a shliach to get his get, and the Rav wants to give him the get.
He can't receive the get himself, but we see that he's able to give to
make a shliach to get his get. According to Rabbi, that's what Rabbi said before, that that he's allowed to make a shliach even though he can't do it himself. So you see that the principle of Rav Huna ben Yeshua is not true. Rav Huna ben Yeshua had an axiom that you can't make a shliach of something that you cannot do. That's why the Kohanim must be shluchim of Hashem. It can't be shluchim of ours because we can't do it. So how can we make a shliach? But you see by Eved, Rabbi says you could. That even though the Eved cannot accept his own get, he doesn't have a yard, but he could make a shliach to accept his get.
I thought that's what we were trying to prove.
We're asking a question. We're not proving it. We're asking a question. Rabbi said that he could. He could make a shliach even though he can't do it by himself. And the Moise Kasha, as that's the Ella,
right?
That was Lala. Not from here, from the Ella starts a Kasha. According to you, there's all Kasha on Rabbi. According to you, so if Hana B'nai Yeshua is wrong. There's all the Kasha until
yeah, and then below.
Below he.
Not the first below.
That was a kasha on. Is it not true? Yes, below. Below. Your Huna ben Yeshua said that it's not possible to make a shliach if you cannot do it by yourself. And Eved, according to Rabbi, could, that even though he can't Rabbi to get himself, he could make a shliach. If Rabbi's right, then Huna ben Yeshua is wrong.
That's all part of the.
That's all part of the kasha. And the Gemara answers below here. It's not a good comparison. Yisrael lo shaychi b'Torah's karbanos klal. The Huna ben Yeshua is right, but you can't make a shliach something that you cannot do. Israelim are not at all in the parsha of karbanos. It's no shaychus, and Yisrael cannot do Kabbalah, Saddam can't do halacha, can't do Zrika. He's not the parsha of karbanos, so you can't. That's why it was pushed the Huna ben Yeshua. You can't make a shliach for something that you cannot do yourself. But the Eved is not so bad. Eved shach begitten. Even though we said that the Eved does not have a yad to accept his own get. But that doesn't mean there is no shaykhs to it. There's a possibility for Eved to accept the get also. The Tanya, Niran Advarim, Sha'eved Lekabo Gito Shalchaveim Yad Rabu Shalchaveim, Avalom Yad Rabu Shalom. It seems true, Niran Advarim, it seems to be that an Eved could be Mekabal or get Shechur of his friend from the master of his friend. There are two of them. Each one has a different master. They live next to each other. Each master has an Eved. So each Eved cannot accept his own get shechur. That's what Shimon Elazar says, that he cannot accept because he doesn't have a yad. But he could accept the next door neighbor, the master wants to get shikha to his Eved. So the Eved, I don't know which names to use, Reuben Shimon, but the Eved use different names. The Eved of Reuben, could accept the get from the Eved from Shimon for Shimon's Eved. Because he has a yad. Which yad does he have? He has a yad. That's extension of his master's yad. The Eved of Reuben is like somebody, as long as it got out of Shimon's rishus. So Shimon wants to free his own slave. He can't give it to his own slave, according to Shimon Elazar, but he can give it to Reuben's slave, be Zocha for my slave. So therefore, even according to Shimon Elazar, that Eved doesn't have a possibility to get a get for himself, but he does have a possibility to get somebody's get. So therefore, he's called that he's in the parsha. So therefore, it's not against the Yesod of Rav Huna ben Yeshua that you can't make a shliach of something that you have no shaykhs to, because here he does have some shaykhs.
Okay, and then the last thing about Lo.
Avrohom, he can't accept the get from his own route. That's what we're saying. He can't get his own. He can't get from his own route, but he could get first. That we knew already the whole time. The Kiddush was that he could get from his friend's master for his friend. So for his friend the slave, he's also an Eved. One Eved could get it for the other Eved from his master. That's the end of the Gemara. This whole Gemara was going, like it said in the beginning, boy, Rabbi, the whole thing is according to Shimon Elazar. What do we find out today? That the Shimon Elazar holds, you don't say Gita V'yod One Ke'echad, you don't say this concept, so the Eved has no way to accept his own get shikha, somebody else has to do it for him. And he can do it with Shchia. But Shlichus, Rabbi says he can't, because you can't. Rabbi says, I'm sorry, Shlichus also you can. That Shlichus you can. That he could make somebody else a shliach to get it for him, and it doesn't come in conflict with the yesod that it cannot make a shliach for something you cannot do yourself. Because here he has some shaykhs to getting a get. He can't get his own get, but he could get the get of his friends.
The shaykhs is because why?
He could be a shliach
of his master.
He has a yad to receive a get for somebody. He could be a shliach to accept a get. Because he has a yad, he has his master's yad. Yeah. But that's called that he has shaykhs to getting a get.
That's different than a shliach.
Of
making the Kohen a shliach for
us, because we have no shaykhs to kabbanis. So we wouldn't be able to make a Kohen a shliach to do our kabbanis if we can't do it by himself. So Yesod is true. The Moshe was right that if you have no shaykhs, you can't make a shliach more than you. But even though you find here that by everybody could, that's because he has some shaykhs to the issue of gittin. It is possible for him sometimes to be a shliach, to have a yad, to get a get for somebody. Okay, so
it makes sense that if somebody wanted to send something to the master, he could give it to the slave, right?
To send something is not called a shlichus. To send something is like a monkey also, like it's called ma'aseh. You don't need to send something just as a messenger, a messenger boy, like a doer.
I'm just talking about receiving.
What's the case?
I want to send Ruvain something. I'm going to give him a gift. If I give it to the slave, Ruvain acquires it.
You mean it could be an extension of the
receive
hand
it for him. Right. And here he's receiving the gift.
No, but he's not, because
he's receiving the gift.
Not for his master, for somebody else. He's not just an extension of his master to get it for the master. Here, he's in place of his master to be able to get it for his friend Eved.
Yeah.
And he's getting a get. The master never needs a get. The next door neighbor Eved, he's the one who needs to get. So since I'm an extension of my master's hand, I could act in his place to receive the get for the next door neighbor
receiving it do?
That it makes that he is going to be freed. Right. Shimon gives the Eved of Reuven a get for Shimon's slave, and he becomes Shimon. His slave becomes free.
Mm.
That was all a side point according to Shimon Elazar. Was that a person cannot accept his own get?
Any Jew.
Yeah, the Chiddush is even a slave, even a slave. So we finished that sugya, and we passed him. I
think. Even a Eved Canaan.
Even Eved, yeah, of course, not Eved Canaan. Eved Ivri is Eved Ivri is independent. He's a Jew. He's Eved Canaan. Everything is about Eved Canaan.
I thought originally we were talking about that the Eved Ivri didn't have a heart. Only Eved Canaan.
From the Mishnah, we're talking about Eved Canaan.
Okay.
So this was under the Mishnah, even according to Rabbanan.
It says it explicitly. Okay.
What?
The
Mishnah before was Eved Ivri, about 5 pages ago. Okay. Eved Ivri over there, how does he get acquired? I forgot already. Kesef, Shtar.
we had the different things.
Yeah.
Elite
Right? No, this is no, that's Evakanani. Evakanani is over here.
and
Evidently was many pages ago. That was on the Yudal Ram base. Evidently Nikla Bekesef Star. 2 ways. That's a good. We got it right. Kesef Star and Konatsmo Vishanim Biobo became Kesef. That was all about evidently Amavi and then Baranesa. And Evakanani started on Chav Beis and Beis and we're up to Chav Gimel and Beis.
Okay.
So the Mishnah said even according to Rabbanan say that Eved Kanani could could give the kesef to redeem himself, but he has to get the money from somebody else. And the Meir says even that is not good. The Meir said that he can't. He has no way of getting money. So that's going to be the sugya. We spoke about it a little bit, and I said the Gemara is going to talk about it. Here's the Gemara. What's the machlokas about the Eved having money? Name of let us say that the machlokas of Rav Meir and the Rabban is the following. So Rav Meir Savar ein kinyan le'eved below Rabo. I'd like to put that the Eved cannot own anything without his master owning it. It says a couple of times about a wife the whole time. I'm just going to put in parentheses because it's not our subject. But it does put it all together each time. It talks each time about a wife, same as a. So I'm just putting in parentheses to avoid the subject because I don't understand it. Each time that it says about a wife, I'm just putting in parentheses. So we're talking about a neved. We'll talk about a wife also in parentheses. But what's the subject? Rav Meir Savar and kinyan le'eved below Rabo. Rav Meir holds it's impossible for a neved to own something without his master. It's impossible. There's no way that Eved could own something without his master. Whatever the Eved gets, right away the master owns it, so there's no way they can have kesef. Rabbanan Savi Yesh kinyan le'eved below Rabo, and Rabbanan say it is possible for the Eved to own something, even though it is he's chayv to work for the master.
You're just putting in parentheses because it's not our subject.
It's not our subject, and also I don't understand it. I'll explain soon why I don't understand it. But it's not our subject. It's not going to be relevant. Maybe the Pasha says it's not relevant. We'll get to the next page. It will be relevant. But so far, just putting it aside, it's not relevant. That the machlokas is if Eved could own something without his master. That Rameir says it's impossible. Rabbanan say it is possible. So therefore, Rabbanan say, but even according to Rabbanan, it says that the money has to be from somebody else. I mean, somebody else, if he would have worked, he can't get money because all his work goes to the master. That's what Eved Kanani is. But if someone gave him money, so he can own it, and the master doesn't get a chelik in it. And according to our mayor, whatever that is going to be given to the Eved, the master is going to own it. That's what the Gemara suggests. That's a machlokas. Rav Sheshes says no. The Kul Yalma ain't kinyan le'eved below Rabo. Everybody holds that whatever that is given to the Eved automatically goes to the master. So therefore, everyone also would hold that he can't have money, even if somebody gives it to him. So what's the machlokas? If somebody gave it to him in a special way. The case here is talking about someone was marketed to him a mana, whatever, money. Mana is 100 zuz. And he told him, I'm giving you the money on the condition that your master doesn't have any rights to it. So that's the chiddush, because he said beferish, I'm giving it to you, that he shouldn't have any rights. There, the Rabbanan are going to say that he could keep it. Right. If he would have just given, first of all, I thought that the focus was if someone gives money to the Eved, the Rabbanan say it belongs to him. And the Rebbe says it doesn't belong to him. Not the Gemara saying everybody holds it doesn't belong to him. Even if he does give money to an Eved, automatically goes to the master. But if he said beferish, I'm giving it to you that the master should not have any rights to it, that's when the Rabbanan say that the Eved keeps it. And the Rebbe says even that doesn't work. And now the Gemara explains, Rebbe Sava Kamalei Kini. But Meir says, as soon as he says, take this, and on the condition, he says, take this on the condition your master shouldn't have rights. So as soon as he said, take this, it already goes, the whole thing is over. Take this, that means that it goes to everything goes to the master. And even though he said, afterwards he spoke a condition, it's too late because the master already owns it. I don't understand how this works. Every time you make a condition, you say what you want to do, and you say a condition. Here, for some reason, once you said it, the condition is over. The Gemara does sometimes say that you have to have Tanai Kodem L'Maisa. It doesn't sound like that's the issue over here.
But he's just saying because it said Kani first?
Maybe. Well, if he would have said Almanas, then on the condition that maybe you're right. In that case, you may hold that it's also possible. So then you're asking Kasha, it is possible. Even according to Rav Meir, it's possible to have his own money. Just say it the right way. Could be. Rav Meir Sava Kamalei Kani, when he says, take this, own it. So then Kani Evet V'Kani Rabbi, automatically the Evet gets it, and the Rabbi automatically gets it, and then afterwards it's too late. And if afterwards he adds on the condition that the master shouldn't have a reshus in it, he didn't say anything because it's too late. Already the master owns it. Rabbanan Savi, Rabbanan says instead of condition, the condition helps. And therefore he said, I'm giving it to you on the condition the Rabbi shouldn't have any chilek, and it works. But if he would have said, but what does the Gemara want to say? But if you would have just given a complaint without saying anything, so then everybody agrees that it belongs to the master. This was Rav Sheshes. Who was this? This was Rabba, the name of Rav Sheshes. How did it go? Amar Rabba, Amar Rav Sheshes. Right. And now Rabbi Loza is going to say it differently. Rabbi Loza Amar, different than Rav Sheshes.
I have tonight.
How did they tonight? His condition helps.
Thank you.
Rabbi Loza Amar. This case also is not good. Even if you said everybody holds that it's too late. And once you said Kani, already automatically goes to the Rab and it's too late. And even the Rabbanan will say also you don't have any, he ever doesn't own the money. So what is the case that Rabbanan say he could own money? The case is someone gave him 100 zuz, mana. And he said, I'm giving you the money that you should be free, go God free with it. He didn't just say that the master doesn't have rishus. He says that I'm giving you the money that you should be liberated with it. What's the machlokes? It doesn't help. You have the Kani Rabbi that as soon as he says take it, so right away the master gets it right away. And all those conditions doesn't make a difference what his condition is. He says on a condition that you should go, let's make a difference. He said take it, so automatically the master owns it. What did Rabbanan say? The Rabbanan also usually that's the way it works. Automatically goes to the Rav. The Rabbanan Savri. He didn't mean to give it to the Rebbe either. If he said I'm giving it to you on the condition of something, the Rabbanan also would have agreed that it goes to the master automatically, and it's too late to make any conditions. But here he didn't even give it to him. To him also he didn't give it. He just said, in order that he should go free. In other words, according to Rabbanan, when you say such words, you're telling David, I'm not giving it to you at all. I'm not giving it to you for a certain purpose. It's my money. It's still my money. And just give it to the master from me. It's my money. I never gave it to you. If you gave it to the Eved in any way, it's going to jump to the master. But Rabbanan say, when they hear these words, they hear that he's telling the Eved, I'm not giving it to you. It's my money. I want you to just give it to the master to be free, but it's my money that you're giving. So that's why it works. To him too, to him, the Eved, he also didn't give it. If he gave it to the Eved, it goes to the master. But the Rabbanan say that he didn't give it to the Eved either. He just meant to say, my money goes straight to the master. You take it in your hand, but it's not yours. I'm not giving it to you. And it comes out very interesting. Rabbi also would agree that if he said so specifically, also would work. If he would say, I'm not giving it to you, he says, Perish, I'm not giving it to you, it's my money. I just want you to give it to the master, my money. So it may also hold that it's good. So these are some conscious over here, because when the Mishnah says it's impossible, it has to be dafka ali there. He also holds, just say it the right way. That's the end of the Gemara. The Gemara is going to continue, but the Gemara ended that what is the case that Rameir and Rabbanan are arguing about if the Eved can have any money. The Gemara first started that according to Rabbanan, just because he gave money to the Eved, it doesn't go to the master. It stays by the Eved. But then the Gemara said no. Everybody agrees that if you give it to the Eved, it goes to the master. And the question would be if he said words that might have a stipulation. Either I'm giving you money, like the Gemara said, and the master shouldn't have any rishus. And according to one shot, Rabbanan say that we hear that he said stipulation that it shouldn't go to the master, and that you have cause to do. According to Rabbanan, even that you can't do. Rabbanan agree even that you can't do, because as soon as you give it to the Eved, the conditions don't help anymore. But if he said it in a way that it means I'm never giving it to you, I'm not giving it to you either. He didn't say kani. He didn't say kani, right? When he says these words, he just means take it, take it in order. That takes it all the favors, which means just give it to the master. Don't take it. I'm not giving it. It's not yours. It's not yours. It's mine. And just do the physical act of bringing it to the master, but tell him it's from me.
And that's not good enough for every man.
The mayor holds that we don't hear that. We hear that he's saying take it. If I'm just
Yeah.
proposing
Yeah.
that he also would agree if he says beferish, I'm not giving it to you. It says 10 times, I'm not
But
giving
he
it to
didn't
you.
say that.
But he didn't say that. It comes out of Kiddush. The mayor also would agree there are possible ways to do it.
Uh-huh.
So just to go back a second, all the times it says that Isha is the same as an Eved. If you hold Ein Kinyan Levet below Rabbo, Ein Kinyan Isha below Bala. If you hold Yesh Kinyan Levet below Rabbo, Yesh Kinyan Isha below Bala. Ein Kinyan Levet below Ein Kinyan. The Gemara 3 times says that Isha is the same Allah as an Eved, which I don't understand because many times we spoke about this, that a husband doesn't own his wife. Master owns his Eved, but a husband does not own his wife. So why is it in the same sugya? Even if it's true that as soon as you give something to an Eved that belongs to the master, it's not true of a wife. By wife, there's a special halachas that they made a takana of mitziyasa, ma'isiyadeha. There's all kinds of findings and earnings. They need a special takana for each thing, but there's no such thing. By Eved, they didn't make a takana about ma'isiyadav and mitziyasa. It's all the same. The Eved is a piece of my property, but a wife is not property. So I don't understand how you can put it all together.
Correct me if I'm wrong. A man can only ask his wife to do some things that she obligated from Ksuba. But if he wants his time to bring a letter to the mail,
It could be that's also included in Ksuba. That the Gemara talks about to do all kinds of shlichiyot, maybe is also included in the chiyuvim of a wife. But of course, anyway, that's the size of the how to ask it and all that. But inside the chiyuvim Ksuba, it is possible that that's included in the chiyuvim Ksuba to take care of the errands and stuff like that.
We always think you have to take out the garbage.
Yeah, Isha.
What
is it?
That's why he has to be marked now on the day after.
For what? When does he have to mark that day after?
If you want Eruv.
So I'm not sure. Is that true over there? That talks about the Isha. The Ishta.
Yeah,
but I don't also and why not? Because why not? What am I saying? That it's not findings, it's not earnings, especially for takanas. Why can't the woman make a kinyan without her husband? Okay. Here the Gemara says it also. The Gemara puts it all in the same basket over here, and I don't understand it. There's a sugi. The main sugi is in the Doran that they bring it from. Peiches, I hope to look it up. And he's taking the case of Erevin also to look
I don't know,
up
maybe I'm
where
wrong.
it has about
Maybe
Isha.
you can say on the Ishto, but I don't think so.
I mean, I think also not because it says if she's smucha al shulchan or something like that, if she's being supported,
No,
that's by the brother and sons. But I think also there talks about such a stipulation, but it's also a nice place to look. I'm interested in the subject because I think that it's a yesod over here. There's the husband own his wife. I think that I always make a big point out of this. And yeah, the Gemara seems to put it on the same thing as only an Eved. So I have to come back if I remember. I made a note to look into it.
Why was it a problem for the Isha?
I don't see what the connection of Isha has to do with an Eved. By Eved
Was
is
it
Isha.
because of the law?
No, nothing to do with that. We're talking about if a woman can have a kinyan, the Gemara throws it in for extra credit. You don't need it over here. The subject is it
Why
possible?
not? Anything that the woman earns belongs to the husband.
Earnings is
Anything
just
that comes to her hand.
she said something else now. First she said earnings, then she said something else.
I
I
see.
don't get a
If somebody
connection.
gives her a gift. It's
So
hers.
why can't it be hers? It
Why
belongs
can't
to
it
her,
be
and then he has rights to it as
hers?
Nifsei Maluk. He has rights to pay rose. He has rights to pay rose, but that's
You're
it.
saying after,
Yeah,
after they are married, if she brings in something, he can use the paper,
right, but it's hers.
but it's hers.
By Neved, it's not his. The Gemara makes sense to me by
It's
Neved,
not- oh, I see.
but I don't get the comparison to an Isha. Because I thought that Isha doesn't belong to him, and he doesn't own what she owns, only has a right to pay rose. So I hope to look into it a little
Okay,
bit. To
what
see
it
what
have to do with when they get married?
I don't think so,
the time of
because
the
the time of the
marriage.
she owns, and he gets favors from that. She brings in a house, so he gets the rent. But the house belongs
That's,
to her.
that's,
That's
that's
Nifsei Maluk.
given, that's called.
Nifsei Maluk.
That's a
And
given.
That's a given, yeah.
And Nifsei Barzel.
Mr. Basel, that would mean that
You
he
have to
estimated,
stipulate that.
and then he is, and then also that's going to be that he accepts upon himself to pay her the value, full value of how they estimate, how much they assessed it for. And even if it gets
it goes up or
expensive or down, that's how much she owes. So that the Gemara says at then that
Well, that didn't that
she
go to
doesn't.
him then?
What?
He went to him, or
Over there, the Gemara comes out
value-
that it's as if it's his now,
as if it's his,
and he has to pay her back by divorce or if she
the
becomes her own
original
mother,
value.
the original value. And there's a thing that if she wants to take it back, there's a halacha that he has to give it back to her, the item, if it's still around, because Shabbat Pesavia, that they want to have the original property that they had, they don't want just the value. So that's like a takana, extra takana that she has a right to get sometimes, the original thing that she brought in, but it's really his. But if she gets something after the marriage, she brings something after the marriage. So again, he has periods on it. He has periods on that. Okay, bottom of the page. The Rami Rab Meir, Adi Rabbi Meir, Rami Rabban Rabban. Contradiction. Does a woman have? Now we're going to the woman now. Now, till now, I put in parentheses. Now the whole thing is in parentheses. It's talking about a woman and a contradiction, because Rabbi Meir said that it came out that a woman cannot own something without her husband. As soon as she owns something, the husband owns it. The Rabbanan say it is possible for her to own by herself. The Tanya, contradiction everybody. The Tanya. And this has to do with Ma'aser Sheni. So Ma'aser Sheni, as we know, we looked about Ma'aser Sheni a couple of times, that you have to eat in Yerushalayim. And if it's too much, then you're allowed to be poded. You transfer it onto money, and the money you take to Yerushalayim. Then it's a thing that if you pod your own Ma'aser Sheni, you have to add on a fifth. If you have 100 zuz of Perish Ma'aser Sheni, and you want to redeem it onto money, so you have to, if it's your own money, your own Ma'aser Sheni, you have to add on a fifth. So here it says, Abraisa, Ein Isha, let's make it bigger.
15 is 20%.
So it's always machlokas. I always issue about mechomesh melavar melagav. Either you say 20 or it means 20, doesn't mean 20 or it doesn't mean 25. 25 would mean that after the whole thing, 25 is a fifth of 125. So I forgot how you do it over here. So here it says, Ein Isha poda ma'aser sheni below chomesh. So it's only if you poda your own ma'aser sheni with your own money. But if you poda ma'aser sheni with somebody else's money, then you don't have to add on a fifth. So here it says a woman has to add on a fifth. Ain't Isha poda ma'aser sheni below chomesh. She can't be poda without a fifth. Which means otherwise she needs a fifth. Rabbi Shem ben Allah Zalman Mishum Rav Meir Isha poda ma'aser sheni below chomesh. She doesn't have to add on a fifth. It's a machlokes. So we don't have the details. Whose food is it? Whose money is it? Everything's very vague. But a machlokes if a woman adds on a fifth or not. I think most of go through the possibilities. What's the case that the woman is being poda ma'aser sheni? If everything is his, it's the husband's money and it's the husband's meiser, and she's in the kitchen and she wants to be poda meiser sheni for him, but it's his food and it's his meiser sheni. So of course you have to add on a fifth. It's nothing to do with her. It's his. The money is his. The food is his. Shlichus the bulk of that she does the shlichus of the husband, and of course she has to add on a fifth. No one would say differently. What's the case? So here's the question, and if we could, to change the gears of this, take out this yud over here. Ella bezuze dido, ma'aser dido. Take out this yud. Instead of didei, read it dido. So this is Tosfos. Rashi has the gears of didei, and Tosfos has the kasha. Tosfos says dido, and the Rambam also says dido. And it comes out of huge chiddush that I didn't know was the halacha. It seems it's the halacha.
Who took it out? The Tosfos?
Tosfos here. If you look at Tosfos over here on the wide lines. Where am I? Yeah, it starts off Hachigaros Rashi. Tosfos says this is Rashi's Gersa. Zuzi dida, ma'aser didei. And Tosfos says 2 lines down. And the other ben down. The Gemara says Zuzi dida, ma'aser dida. Let's change the Gersa. And the Rambam also. We looked it up, and the Rambam also has the dida, and it comes out of huge chiddush. Is going to say no, that I never knew that's the halacha, and I think that's the halacha. The Rambam, and usually in Meister, these halachas usually pass like the Rambam. So let's see. I'll try to look it up also in the current halachas form. So it says over here, what is the case? The husband's money, the husband's food, then for sure she has to add on a fifth.
Dida means his. Excuse me.
Dida is his. Dida is hers.
Dida is hers.
Her money and her food. Is that the case? They're arguing if she has that on a chomesh. No. Ish Amrachmana below Isha. The pasuk says for Ish ki how does it say? I forgot the pasuk over there. Imasro, something like that. So it says a man who redeems below Isha. And this halacha says here, according to our Girsa, according to this Girsa of Tosfos, that a woman who is poda ma'aser sheni doesn't add on a fifth. Even if it's her food and her money, And a man has to, a woman doesn't have to. Huge Kiddush, and I've read of it before, that a woman doesn't have to be doesn't have to add on the 5th when she's holding Ma'aser Sheni. So that's
She
not the
doesn't
case
have to
here.
add when she protests Ma'aser Sheni.
Even her own money, Rashi, Amana Grusha, she has her own money and she has her own produce and she wants to be produce, she doesn't have to add on the 5th. I'd like to look up this also. So that also doesn't make sense. What's the machlokes? Either if it's his money and his produce, for sure you do have to add on the 5th. And if it's her money and her produce, surely she does not have to. What's the machlokes going to be? It must be. It must be the following case. It's the husband's food. And now someone gave her money. Is it her money or is it his money? If it's his money, so it's his money and his food, so she'd have to add on a 5th. If it's her money and his food, then she would not have to. And what do we see? Someone gave her money and said, "I'm giving you the money in order to be posted on Maisa," and comes out comes out the opposite opinions because Tanakama says that she needs to add on the Chumash. That means made a mistake. Whose food is it? 1 second.
He's giving it to her on the condition that she redeems the Meiser.
Yes.
Is he trying to? But is he giving it to her?
He gave
He's
it to her. He gave it to her
money.
the same way that Amisha says it's possible according to Rabbanan. Rabbanan says Rabbanan says it's impossible that the Eved or the Isha should own money, and the Rabbanan said it is possible in certain conditions, whatever conditions you want to say. According to Rabbanan,
She has fruit. She has Meiser Sheni, and he's saying, "I'm giving you 100 on condition that this money be used to redeem your fruit." And therefore, once it's hers, she's not going to give the 5th. Her fruit is worth 100. She doesn't have to give 120. Is that what
it's his fruit.
I thought it was her fruit, and he's giving money to her to redeem her fruit. What otherwise?
Whose fruit are you saying it is?
The woman's. Why wouldn't it be the woman's fruit?
And now what?
He's giving her money to redeem it instead of having to take it to the Shalai. And she's going to be able to get out of the.
So
5th. She wants to redeem it. She doesn't want to bring her.
Yes,
fruit.
I got it. So she has her fruit, and now whose money is it?
His. He's giving it to her.
I mean, it's not, the question is someone gave her money. The question is, does it go automatically to the husband or not?
And he's saying almanas.
Right. Is it possible in any way to get money to the woman that it should belong to her? So if it did successfully get to her, and the husband doesn't have anything over there, so then she would have to pay it. She would have to.
She would have to do what?
She have to pay Chumash.
Why?
Because it's her fruit and it's her money.
Without the almanas. Without the almanas.
Almanas makes more than it's her money. Almanas is saying the husband doesn't have any rights to it.
He's saying almanas that this is for redemption.
That means that's what we're talking about. All these cases, they made a stipulation that the husband shouldn't get involved. Doesn't work. Or does the husband get involved anyway? Mary in the Mishnah said
she can only use it to redeem her fruit.
We had a machlokas before. No, you have to recognize that there's a machlokas. Before he said, I'm giving you this money in order that you should be redeemed. Rabbi Meir said, I didn't hear anything. Rabbi Meir said it goes to the master. Okay. So according to what we know from Rabbi Meir, if someone gave her money like this, it still belongs to the husband.
Yeah.
And
he didn't say anything. And she'd have to do the 5th.
She'd have to pay a 5th because it's his money and her fruit. No, it's his money. So I'd like to say different than you said. That is the case is here that it's his fruit.
It's his fruit.
It's his fruit. And someone gave her money to redeem the Ma'aser Sheni. Is it his money or not? So if a mayor will say that it's his money, so it's his money and it's his fruit, and he should have to give a 5th, and that's a contradiction because a mayor over here says that she does it without giving a 5th. That's a contradiction in a mayor. And the one is the opposite. The one should have said that it does work, that it's only her money. It's her money and it's his fruit, so she should not give a 5th. And they say that she does give a 5th.
But I don't understand. If it's not her fruit,
it's his fruit. That's Mamish's fruit.
It's Mamish his fruit. So why wouldn't she have? What does it matter if it's her money?
That's what we're talking about the whole time. That if somebody
not giving the woman not giving the 5th.
When a person uses his own money,
the husband always say, "You redeem it, honey."
Right?
Then why wouldn't the husband always say, redeem my Sasheni, we'll go to Jerusalem for the party? Why wouldn't the husband say, uh-huh,
Okay.
if she can redeem it without paying the fifth, even if it's not her fruit? I thought it had to be her fruit. Why wouldn't a husband always want to get out of paying the fifth?
His fruit, and if she has her own money, if she'll use her own money to be able to put it, so then she won't be a fifth.
Why?
But that's not halacha. When you put somebody else's fruit, you don't pay a fifth. That's the beginning of the sugya. When you put the same owner, if somebody else is put there, if you come to be put in my fruit, so then you don't pay a fifth. If I use your money,
so Reuben can just go to his neighbor and say,
if somebody else is put there, so then you don't add on it.
I see.
That's the yisod of the whole
I see.
sugya.
But if he goes to his wife and it's still his money,
so it's his money and it's his fruit. That's
but
what the Gemara started off.
money, okay.
So the Gemara started off. If it's his money and his fruit, so then there's a fifth. If it's her money and her fruit, there's no fifth because the woman doesn't do this. The case the Gemara told us to talk about a case where it's his money, it's his fruit. I'm sorry, and the question is if it's her money or not. But then it comes out that's a contradiction and you're made up on it. Because if this be the case, that it's his fruit, and then there's a question if it's his money or not. If anything, Rabbi should have been the one who says that it is his money, and it's his money and his fruit. So he should have that on the fifth. And he says the opposite. They don't have on the fifth. The one should have said that it is her money and she should not have on the fifth. So they do. That's a contradiction. Rabbi Epoch. Rabbi says, right, it's good kasha. So switch it around. There's a mistake over here. You have to say that Rabbi is the one who says that you do pay a fifth. Because it's his money and his fruit and money. So change my other sheet. It's a mistake. Leave it the way it is. We see the opposite. We hear the opposite from them. That was the kasha.
Yeah.
Then so I'm Rabbi Epoch. Switch around the opinions over here. It's a mistake. It was recorded as a mistake, and Rabbi is the one who says that you do pay a fifth. The one who say you don't pay a fifth. Don't switch it around. Leave it the way it is, and I'll tell you the terrace. It's her fruit. It's Maisa that came from her father's house. The Ben Yishah means from her father. That's another way of saying his father-in-law. It came from his father-in-law. His father-in-law died and left over Maisa Sheni and she Yashin. So what? It's her fruit. What's the machlokes now? The question is, does husband have any? Whose money does she want to use? She wants to use his money. She's using his money for her fruit. But the question is, his money for her fruit. She yashin fruit, and she wants to be voted with his money.
So is it the same as?
Am I saying it right? Let me see Rashi over here.
Split the ocean so I can make these towers of ocean.
Yeah, Rashi says his money. She wants to use his money for this fruit that she has. So what's the machlokes? Does he have a right to this? Does he have a right to her Yerusha? Does he get Paris for her Yerusha? That's what the Gemara says. Rabbi holds that Ma'is Heder is considered holy money, which means it doesn't belong to the It's not considered Yerusha. He doesn't get rights to it. Usually when right, good. And the husband doesn't get any rights to it. It means usually when a woman inherits, the husband gets payros. It belongs to her, but the husband gets payros. So Rav Meir says in this particular case, Ma'aseh Sheni, he doesn't get payros. So it's his money and her fruit. So that's why Rav Meir says no chomish.
Because she's like anybody else, that somebody else is
right. It's her fruit without any. Her husband doesn't own it at all.
So somebody else can put that in. It's his money. So
his money, her fruit, no chomish. But the Rabbanan say, Maman Hedyot to that Ma'aseh Sheni is considered chulin money, and there a Kanin Leibal, he has rights. Doesn't mean that Ramesh owns it, but it means he has rights on it for payers, he has the payers of it.
So that means it's his fruit.
So it's his fruit and his money. So therefore, there is a chomish. So it has nothing to do with the subject of the. We thought the case was.
It's a different subject.
Different case. We took it out of the ballpark.
What are the last three words?
The Hilchos the Malkov that she's doing the shlichus of the husband. She's doing the shlichus of the husband.
She's doing the shlichus of her.
It means that it's his food and it's his money, and she's just doing the motions of taking off mice being folded, but you have to pay a chomish because it's his food. The Gemara thought that because of process of elimination, we'll figure out that it's a case of someone gave her money with a condition that her husband shouldn't have, and we go back to our man Rabbanan, and it's a contradiction. So we said, no, it's not the case. The case is another case altogether, that she got a Yerusha, and the question is if he has rights to that Yerusha or not, because Ma'aser Sheni Mammon Hektish, maybe he doesn't have rights. If he does, then it's his fruit, then it's his money, and you have to pay a chomish. If he doesn't have rights, then it's her fruit and his money, and you don't have to pay a chomish. That's your part.
Yes,